it's right side up. Yeah, we
so
did it right.
So you should read it, right?
Yeah, we did it right on that one. Then. Okay. All right. I think that's it. That's all we needed.
Okay, cool.
All right. Perfect. Thanks, man. All right. Bye. We are on our way to one of our friends' house. He is also on 8th Gen Civic. I'm gonna put in his little description right over here, his name out there on 8th Gen. So he is doing a bunch of stuff on his vehicle today with his car, a lot of front end suspension components, hubs, lower control arms, ball joints, tie rod ends, and all that good stuff. So we are gonna go there, help him out, record some of the stuff. Maybe we can make some how-to videos out of this content. So stay tuned, guys. So I'm gonna introduce you guys to this guy. He's from 8th Gen Civic. Do you know your screen? Do you know what your broken tools?
We got broken tools already. So what are we gonna do on this car today?
Oh my God, everything. So we're doing front springs, lower control arm, tie rod ends, a couple other brake bits, and bearings and hubs. So basically full front.
A lot of full front suspension.
Yeah.
We're having a problem right now with the front axle nut. As you guys can see, we already broke one of the wrenches here. We're giving it all we got and we cannot take it off. So our options are exhausted right now. So we're most likely gonna go to a nearby shop, ask them politely if they can just use an air gun to take that nut off so we can continue with this process. All right, guys, so just when we thought we were gonna be out of options, just when everything failed, this was our idea right here. We didn't have a big enough breaker bar, so we used a jack stand.
Yeah,
there
buddy.
We are making moves. We got it loose. I mean, it's still a tedious process. This axle nut is giving us a lot of problems, but we sounds like the Titanic sinking, right? So that saves us a trip to the mechanic. Once we get that off, I think it's time for what, Corona or a beer or something?
Oh, definitely.
It is getting hot in here.
Magic hats in store. Some magic hats and some moose heads, man.
It is getting hot in here today. We are expecting about 85 degrees. So the sooner we get this car lifted, get everything going, the better. Anyway, guys, we are here in Barrington today, so quite the different scenery compared to Chicago. A lot more free room. Alrighty then. If you guys don't know this guy, he's Dre. He is from 8th Gen Civic. Real cool cat to hang around with.
We out here, man. We out here. Life's too slow to drive stock cars, you know.
You know, so tell us about the Civic. What you got? What kind of model it is?
2010 LX Civic, 5-speed, rare 5-speed. I got some conies, some lowering the springs. For the most part, it's just daily driver. But some camber, rear SI sway bar, most part all suspension mods, a couple of brake mods, some nice pads on there. And yeah, she's my track car, she's my daily.
He does everything with this car. I mean, that just goes to show you how well these Civics are built. They're built for the track.
Oh yeah.
For taking the kids to school, getting the groceries.
I got my track sticker here.
All that good stuff. So let's get these nuts off. Let's get this car lifted and let's continue.
Thank you, sir. So now we're taking off the strut. We got the top bolts all loosened up. We're gonna take the two bolts right here off. Your camber bolts.
What are they, 19?
19 on this side, and I think 18 on this side.
And the 3 top bolts are right over there. You need a 14 mil to take those off.
So I'm gonna hold this side.
Gotcha. So how do you like the Coney Orange?
Oh, awesome. Way better than stock. Handles better, feels better. It feels softer, like all day Coney Oranges.
So why orange and not the yellows?
Because how often you're gonna adjust it? And I do a lot of daily, so I figured a little bit softer is probably gonna be a little bit better than super stiff, you know?
So the yellows were dampening adjustable?
Yeah, dampening
And
adjustable.
these are just solid adjustment. There's no dampening, right?
Yeah, well, for the front, they don't make a strut. It was a drop-in, so you'd have to chop the strut from the bottom and drop in the actual thing. So this is much easier plug and play, which is perfect. So saving a lot of time, so making it easier. Next, we want to take off our caliper and the brake line. You want to make sure you definitely don't hang your caliper by the brake line.
So we're pretty much going to be removing everything we see.
Everything.
I've been in the hills, fucking superstars, feeling like a rock star.
Be careful when you remove this brake line and the caliper. You don't let it hang so this brake line does not rip. Otherwise, you're screwed. You got a whole nother day ahead of you of work.
Yeah, seriously.
Guys, check out this custom intake. So he has a little housing here which directly pushes air into that factory intake, which is pretty cool. Factory intakes, #1, guys. You don't have to replace intakes, because if you mess with intakes, especially the housing diameter of the intake, it just messes with everything. So a tip to getting the top bolts off, you actually have to move your windshield wiper up. The last bolt is in there. As you guys can see, we already removed the passenger side. Now he is running a factory spring right now with the Coney setup, but he is going to be swapping those springs out, and I'll let him talk about it when we do so. This is where we are right now. I think he's going to be replacing the tie rod ends, the whole hub assembly, and much more. So stay tuned. Sitting pretty in a new environment here. And
Alright, so now that that's done,
oh, did we pop it out yet?
we're about to.
We're about to pop this driver's shock out. It's gonna be like Dre's second baby coming out.
Need a 14.
Labor's never easy, guys. Right when you think it's coming out, it's not coming out. You want me to adjust it a little bit? I think I'm gonna have to deliver this. The only one here right now.
Just like that.
Just like that. All right.
Go. Good shit.
All right, Chief. Tell us how you tie your shoes.
Over and under, through the loop, and under the bridge. Double tie that shit.
So what's next? What are we gonna do next?
So next I say we take off the lower control arms.
Lower control arms?
Drop those out, and then we can take off the whole knuckle with that as well. So we're gonna release ball joints and a couple of bolts and tie rod ends.
All right, let's get to it.
All right, so we just undid the end link from the sway bar because we're gonna be taking off the lower control arm. So we undid the end link. See how it's all dangling now. I was connected to the lower control arm. Now we gotta support the brake caliper out of the way. So we undid 2 bolts. They hold it to the arm right here. So one right here, one right here.
What is that, 17?
These are size, yeah, 17s. 2 of those, and this thing just comes sliding right off.
So now, like I mentioned before, make sure you support it so you don't put strain on the brake line.
Yeah, or the ABS line.
Or the ABS line, there you go. So we're gonna support that, and then the next step would probably be taking off the disc.
Yep.
Which is pretty
much already off.
already.
Yeah.
We
and
are
then sliding off the whole arm.
Yeah, we're gonna make sure we pull the axle out from there, and undo the lower control arm joint as well.
It's a ball joint right here.
Ball
yeah.
joint.
All right.
Cool. All right, good job. How long did this take us so far without brakes? You think?
Without brakes?
Yeah, I know we took some brakes.
We took an hour for the first bolt. But after that went off, maybe another I don't know, half hour, 45.
Okay, not too bad. Not
for everything else, and that's the struts pulled out.
The temperature right now on this day is probably about 80. In the sun, right here where we're actually working, it feels like 100 degrees. So
really hot.
We have a couple cold ones in the beer. A couple cold ones in the fridge. Clearly, I had too much already. But we got a couple cold ones waiting for us, just to cool out. Stay hydrated as well, very important. But yeah, we are making moves here.
Making progress.
Hey, these TSWs, man, they gotta go. They're not real.
It's gonna be winter tires now, so
they're not that JDM, man. All right, so what we have done so far is we did remove the tie rod end. And where is it? Let me show you guys. Yo, Dre, where that tie rod end at? Oh yeah, here it is. There.
Yeah.
So pretty much you got one bolt here, and that was what, 19? 19 mil. We did have to unloosen this little nut here. That was 24. And then you just pretty much,
the other wrench you hold on to right here onto the end of the tie rod. It's got a little groove in there, so you stick a wrench. Yep.
One wrench you would put onto the actual tie rod end, and the other one on the nut, and then just break it loose. So this is where we are right now. We got the strut assembly out. We got the lower, or the tie rod end undone.
End link is done too. Struts out.
And so the tie rod end.
Pull off the knuckle.
And this is funny, guys, because we're working on the car, and I find this little
bearing ball.
Little bearing, and then we just look in the back of the hub assembly, and there's no this is already separated from the hub, and there's no bearings in there. There's some couple rocks, couple debris. So I think that this is the only bearing
that survives.
This is the only one that was working. This is the only one in the car that was making the wheel spin.
It's good that we're doing this, man.
Why are you neglecting your car so much, man?
160,000 in cross country, brother, man. She's been to Colorado and through a desert and back. That's what'll happen to you. Carrying a lot of weight through.
That's good you don't drive with kids or anything in the car or anything.
Yeah. Baby on board.
All right, well, baby's gonna be safer after we finish this today.
Oh, yes.
So we're gonna do the same thing on this side. Again, we gotta undo this bolt here, take a cotter pin out, and drop the tie rod end.
Quick tip: keep the nut up top here and just hammer it right there, and it'll just pop right out. You don't have to have a fork or anything like that. We were fine.
Thank you for your knowledge. Were you a SAEC certified mechanic?
Garage mechanic approved, man.
Okay, very good, very good.
All right, so we got the arm off. We took off the ball joint. I bought this tool online for like 15 bucks. It's had better days, but basically you slide the fork on like that, and then as you screw this bolt in, it's gonna press this top part and press the bearing out. So this is gonna go underneath, like so. Here, we'll just put it back down actually. Like this, and as you compress this bolt, it's gonna pop the. You'll hear a large pop, and then the bearing. I'm sorry, the ball joint will just be pressed out, and you can just take this right off.
So we are pretty much.
We pulled this out earlier. It just slid right out.
Work here. I mean, everything's pretty much out. Now we got just a hub.
ABS.
Yeah, we'll mess with the ABS. We took that off.
So,
the ABS line is really hard to take off. We had to break it. We do have a new ABS line.
The traditional is very common. Basically seizes in here. The way we're gonna fix this is since we got all this off, we're gonna take a big drill and we're gonna drill it out, make a hole for the new one, just lube it up, and it'll go right in.
So where'd this bearing come from, bro?
I don't know whose bearing that is. There's a lot of cars that visit this garage, so maybe that was someone else's.
Get the Piggly Wiggly, boy. My favorite. This is the best from Butera, boy.
80-degree weather, fuck yeah.
Okay guys, so a problem we are having with the other side is with the control arm. You can see that bolt right there in the back. We were trying to remove it, and that nut that's actually welded into the subframe snapped from the subframe. I guess it was TIG welded or MIG welded. And it did snap, as you guys can see here. There's that space between the chassis and the nut. So when we turn the nut now, this whole bolt is spinning, so that is not good. We have to figure out a way to remove that bolt and that nut. And we're probably gonna have to ghetto fab it to put it back on. Well, this side was much easier, right, Chief?
Yeah, much easier. I mean, you can see where all the rust started building up, so it's basically seized in here somewhere on the other side. This bolt literally just, I pulled it out with my fingers.
Yeah, I mean,
like it's supposed to be, you know?
This lower control arm rear bolt was a breeze to take
Yeah,
off.
literally with my hands, no problem.
The other one, what we ended up doing was we cut the rear of it. We kind of used the Dremel and cut it and then unscrewed it. But we cannot remove that bolt. The bolt is still in the back. And what I think is going on, and I'll demonstrate on the new one, even though we're turning that bolt on the outside over there, I think this whole interior piece is spinning. It's just corroded in there so much that it won't let go. We impacted it like 30 times. We tried penetrating oil, hammering it out, and nothing is working. So we're gonna remove that lower control arm now in a second.
Yeah, so we just undid that one first. We undid the ball joint next. And now we just undid that top one, and this should all just wiggle right out, just like that.
And that's how the other one should have came out, but
that easily.
Unfortunately, like we said, we believe that the
Super
whole metal
corroded.
piece inside is corroded.
This is spinning through inside the bushing. So I'm gonna try more hammering, and hopefully one of those things busts loose.
We gotta do something because we're losing daylight here, and we're losing beer. You want a beer, bro?
Yes, please.
I got you, man. I get one too, because you know we one side closer to finishing. All right, I get one, you get one, and then
We'll pick up another 12er, man.
here, take this one because I had the.
Did you try this? This is the good stuff.
I tried
Have another one, man. I killed a 12-pack of it. I'm okay. Give me a light one so I don't get drunk.
Oh, that's a lighter one. As you guys can see.
How many beers does it take to get a job done? We're up at what, like almost a 12.
It's not that easy. Cheers, man.
Cheers, bro. This is necessary to make everything happen.
Already. Thanks, Chief.
All yours, buddy.
I don't know if you guys can hear, but there's like a drumming band in the background, and they're drumming and celebrating our victory with one control arm.
One control arm is done. So now we are gonna compress the spring to remove the top hat. Just gonna set one on each side a little bit, tighten it up, tighten it down. One thing, you do not want to use air tools on this stuff.
We're gonna use air tools on this though, right?
No way.
No, we always use it. You do it by hand? That takes forever.
I know, but it's the right way.
Oh no.
So that's a little bit on there.
So, tell us, what springs are you gonna be installing in the front?
We got Swift, not Spec R. So there's two of them. They came out with a Spec R. Yeah, they came out with the Spec Rs. These are the older ones. They actually discontinued them and recontinued them because they're a little bit softer. They're not as low. It's about a 1-inch drop, not like a 1.2, and they're closer to stock than they are for like racing and stuff. Am I doing this backwards? I'm doing this backwards.
Yeah, we gotta cut that out now.
We don't make mistakes. We just make happy little accidents.
We make perfect YouTube videos so people see how easy everything is. But in reality, we watched people taking off axle nuts and such, and
yeah, no problem.
One of them was such a pain in the butt.
All right, so this should be pretty.
Damn, you're not gonna run a gun to this? I gotta break your virginity, dude. Like, you're not gonna damage anything.
I have, but
dude,
you want to
do it for
YouTube,
dude. Do it for YouTube.
YouTube's gonna hate so hard on
You need to just dude, I'm telling you, we always do it with the gun, and you can go slow, but it's gonna save you so much time.
All right, grease them up a little bit.
You shot me, man.
Sorry,
Shot
man.
me.
Do the GoPro. All right, this is probably 19. So terrible. It's going against everything I believe in.
You try to.
One important rule is plug in the gun.
All right. That's Gucci, man.
It's working?
That's more than enough. Oh yeah, that's it. Don't do it.
Spring move? Yeah, spring moves.
Oh yeah.
So you want to do it so the spring can move, so you know that if this top hat comes off, you see how the spring is moving on its own?
There's no more tension.
There's
on
no
the
more
top
tension
hat.
on top hat. It's not going to bust off
And we could take
and
that
kill somebody.
inner bolt off really nicely without the spring compressing up the top hat, and then possibly stripping those bolts. I actually stripped 2 of mine like that. No, you gotta
hold it.
Ow! Alright, hold on.
That hurt. It's going the other way. It's going that way. Okay, yeah, hold it. That's fine. Yeah. Nope.
Work?
Yep, that's the one.
So show us the wrench you have.
So this is what they call a pass-through socket. I went ahead and invested in a Craftsman set. They work amazing. I was working on SUV, and they have the biggest gap through here. So I actually fit a 10mm socket through there to be able to do what I got to do. So these are super useful when it comes to oh wait, that's like a 19. So it's super useful pass-through sockets whenever it comes to top hats and stuff. They're very, very good. Let me get you a whole set.
Are you sponsored by Craftsman?
I am actually. They're paying me for this. So that I think is a. Alright, so this is the basic setup you're going to have. You have an Allen key on the top one, passing through the pass-through wrench with a 19 on the bottom. And the Allen key size is 6, if that means anything for anyone.
If you don't know, ask Craftsman.
Ask Craftsman. And you basically end up taking this one off.
So you're going to be replacing this top hat actually as well,
yeah,
right?
So I'm replacing the top hat on one of them. The other one's already been replaced. So the top hat's also coming off. We have a new one. So I had some differences in camber.
It's also
I don't know if that's why, but we'll find out.
It's a good idea to replace them. I mean, your car again has 160,000 miles, so it's a good way to do it. So that's it. So now you can just slip everything off pretty much.
There you go.
So that's the top hat with the dust boot.
Yeah,
bearings
the dust
are
boot
inside.
is attached to this thing right here.
Happened to me
I got a new one too, but so I actually have 2 dust boots. This is from the new K&N one. And this is the top of the stock one just to help my
Damn.
spring sit.
K&N makes dust boots? Or you mean Cody? You mean the Cody shock boot, right?
I don't remember now.
Because K&N is air filters, bro.
Oh yeah. So I think it's KYB actually. So here's your stock top hat. What happens is the spring presses on here and it's supposed to turn really nice and smoothly. You can see a little friction. This one's not really damaged. I'm probably not going to go ahead and throw this one out. Actually, it is a little bit damaged. I hit a really bad pothole, so these bolts are coming out like this a little bit. So it's probably a good idea just to go ahead and replace it and grease everything up so everything works nicely. We're doing everything else, so might as well.
Alright, and we just simply slip off the stock spring.
Very careful, you don't want to damage this piston. It's very important.
Yeah, you gotta make sure the shaft is clean.
Yeah. We'll
Show us
clean
the new
up, so.
spring.
So the new spring, let's compare actually. So size-wise, they almost look identical, but what happens is this part's gonna compress with the load of the car. So these are linear springs, unlike most of the other aftermarket ones that you can get. So this is gonna compress and give it a lower height, but overall they're about the same height, I want to say.
Probably.
Once this is compressed, this is the actual usable spring, so it will sit lower once this is binded up.
It's just probably a little stiffer spring rates, right? Than
Yeah, it's
factory.
definitely a little bit stiffer spring rates. Not by much, not by too much. Definitely still streetable, so it's not like a total. It's not definitely not race car
For sure.
status. The this little bit on the bottom, it's like an isolator to make it not squeak. This nipple is gonna go right into this one right in front here. So we're just gonna slide that right on like this with the new boot. So what we just discovered, since this is a coupe, the instructions they provide you with another boot. On the sedans, the springs are wound in the opposite direction, so you need two of the top hats from one side that go with the winding in the clockwise direction, or whatever way you want to look at it. So since it's a coupe, we don't have that issue. We're just gonna use the new one that they provided just for shits and giggles because it's nice and new, and it fits right. So we're all set with this. Now we're gonna put the top hat.
We need the boot though.
Yeah,
or
the boot
stop,
and the bump stop.
bump.
Do that. Slide it right up onto the top strut.
And that's pretty much for the shock to not bottom out over big bumps.
Yeah, so when your strut and your spring completely compresses, that's what stops it. So that's when you bottom out, that's what you hear, the big clunk sound. So now what we're going to do is we're going to compress the spring to make it lower so we can put that top hat on. And so we need this a little bit more compressed. So we're just going to compress it enough so we can start the thread of the top one and put the new top hat on.
One thing when you guys take these top hats off, these two metal pieces here they hold what is it called again? Bearings?
Yeah, bearings.
Bless you. They hold bearings in there, and then if you open this up and the bearings fall
You can even
everywhere.
open it up to show them.
I mean, just
I
at
think
least put
it's-
them so they don't do it sideways though.
Yeah, so you have oh yeah, look at this one. So already all the balls are like, half the balls are gone.
Yeah, see
all those ball bearings?
you want to make sure the bearings are in the center.
So if everything falls out and you're reusing your top hat, it's a good idea to collect those and put them into their respective slots in here. So you want to make sure they all come into their proper spots so you can actually so it can spin around.
Correct.
So what we're going with is a aftermarket Moog. So it's actually no bearings. There's no ball bearings in this one.
What?
Yeah, there's no ball bearings. So in here, you can see it's moving, but there's no ball bearings inside
So
here.
is that like a Tesla of bearings?
Basically.
Of top hats?
Maybe there is bearings. I don't know. Doesn't
False
sound.
advertisement. I'm suing.
Oh fuck!
It's windy out.
Down. We don't need all
Kind of
this up
windy.
here. Oh, we're just gonna go like
That's
that.
just gonna pop on, and then
And
we're
your bump stop's gonna sit right in here, and the thread's gonna come out here, and we're gonna bolt that right up,
perfect.
just like that.
And like TV Magic.
To flip them.
Logo.
It's
Right side up.
Okay, so right side up Swift logo. So the more coils are gonna be up top, right? Okay, and then you provided one of the boots to flip it. Is that correct as well? I mean, that's what I understand. Okay, so Swift logo is right side up. Yeah, we
So
did
you
it
can
right.
so you
We
should
did
read it, right?
Yeah, we did it right on that one then. Okay. Alright, I think that's it. That's all we needed.
Okay, cool.
Alright, perfect. Thanks, man. All right, bye. Oh, there's
Already, thank God.
All Swift.
Thank you, Swift,
we did it
for
right.
explaining
Thank God,
this
man.
properly.
Thank
'cause
God we put it
this
right
has been
up.
killing us for the last hour and a half. All right, so we started to tackle the hub assembly, the
Bearing.
bearing, and we had a bunch of tools rented out, but we still used the old school method. We just hammered. Where's the old spindle?
So basically what we did, we had it set up like this. We used the tool as a tripod, right? And then this one under here, so this was supported.
And
We
have
took a
some
big enough
space.
socket that fit right on the inside of the spindle, so basically right on the surface of this. And then we hammered it just a bunch of times so it dropped out
And
the
then
bottom.
when you hammer it, this drops out, and this is the old, I don't know what you call it,
Yes.
spindle.
Yeah, this is the old hub, and this is still a piece of the old bearing. So if you're reusing your hub, you'd have to cut it here and split this apart so you can have just a spindle like this. So you see the size difference between what it's supposed to look like and where the old bearing is still attached to it.
Yeah. Will
So-
the old bearings work on this one? No, right?
The old bearing?
Let's just say you wanted to swap this and with the same bearings.
Well, usually you're going to split your bearings doing it. So you're probably going to have to get new bearings.
we
It's
have
possible.
no idea what we're talking about.
We just guessing. We out here just guessing, man.
But anyway, we're happy we got this off. Now the next step is there's still a bearing in there, so we're gonna try to.
So the first step is going to be this clip. Here's that clip that we found. So we
Where's
got
it?
new ones right here.
Oh,
So we're going to clip this thing out and try to pry it out with a screwdriver, and that'll
Like a
enable
little
us to push the to get onto the bearing to pull it out.
Okay, so we're gonna compress
This in.
those in,
Yes.
pull it out,
Yes.
and then push that whole bearing back outwards, right?
I believe so.
All right. Alright guys, so we used the bearing press. We were not able to press out this bearing. It's just not enough manpower to do so. So we are gonna go to a nearby shop. We're gonna try to ask those fellas if they have a press and if they can press it out for us, and then if they can press in the new bearings as well. So that will be ready to go. Dre here got the new bearings actually in the refrigerator. A good trick of the trade is to cool down the bearings. That way they hopefully can shrink a little bit. So when you are pressing them into the knuckle assembly, they might be a fraction smaller and it might go in just that little bit smoother. So let's go to the shop. Let's go get some food. Let's see what happens. It's been a really long day, and it's a big project when you're trying to change the full suspension, lower control arms, tie rod ends, everything. And we ran into some problems as well with this car being 160,000 miles. It's not the easiest thing, and it was a track car, so a lot of brake dust. Everything's nice and good. Any final words? Defeated.
Almost.
All right, man. You'll be all right.
All these tools and still nothing, man. Use a press.
Use a press. Not sure if I'm gonna record me installing all these new tools because I might be flying back home to Chicago tonight. But yeah, I mean, everything else you just bolt back up the new parts, and everything's in reverse. So thank you guys for watching. Check out future videos. So I'm heading home right now. We dropped off the bearings at the shop to get pressed out. Something we were not able to do, unfortunately. If you're looking to do this job as well,
consider the options of just dropping it off. I think they were charging us 50 bucks a piece to press the old ones out, press the new ones in, so that's a fair price. Definitely saves a lot of frustration. So, you know, I'm not gonna show the installation video because I'm not able to go there tomorrow and film, but pretty much we put everything in reverse. The dude had 160,000 miles on his car, so it is definitely time to replace some of them. I'm sure his ride's gonna be a lot more comfortable with the new bushings. Everything is new, and with the new suspension, it'll be definitely improved for handling in whatever track time, circuit racing he's gonna do for this season in the summer. So big shout out to my boy Dre for hooking it up with some beer and hooking up with some food. Well appreciated, my friend. Good luck with the install tomorrow. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to this channel if you're interested in content such as this.